Hello world, my name is Seth Ponder. Welcome to an episode of PonderCast where we share great ideas and great things happening in education today. In this episode, one of our students from Riley was on the Hamilton stage. Check this out.
Men, for those who haven't met me, Patrick Henry is my name. Men, I'm ashamed. Now before I object you, men know I respect you, men I would elect you if I had the right to. Can't you see our plot? How do you stand by while people die out in the streets and fleets of ships strengthen their grips and King George hides like an eclipse behind his army? I won't let them harm me. Now is the time to wake and fight the British. Will I wait till morning shines? No, now is the time. How do you men gloat while all those boats send more red coats to mark us dead and paint us red because we said we wanted freedom for this nation, not this devastation? Now is the time, men, now is the I know not for you, but as for me, give me death upon that tree, or give me liberty.
And I have one of our Riley students here with me. His name is Braden Allison, and Braden, what do you do? What do you like to do?
I'm Braden Allison. I'm a junior here at Riley High School, and I do most anything performing arts-wise. I'm not much of a visual artist, but performing-wise, I write, compose, perform. That's mainly what I do.
I was pretty honored that you are on my podcast because my family and I are like big fans of yours.
That's sweet.
I mean, we've seen him a lot of times on stage, and so this is going to be a lot of fun. And Braden and all of the previous students I've had and all the students I will have, like, that's the reason why we as teachers love coming to school, and you guys inspire us just as much as maybe we inspire you guys. So you come from a family of educators.
Yes. My grandmother, my mom's mom, was a kindergarten teacher, and I'm sure she taught other things. My mom is a secretary at Hamilton Elementary School. My aunt, my mom's sister, is a Spanish teacher here at Riley. And my sister, Morgan, teaches at Harrison. And
Morgan is our softball coach.
Yep.
And you've got siblings and cousins in the building. So
yep.
It's a family affair here at Riley High School. So let's get started with just some getting to know you questions. Number one, what's your favorite color?
Red.
What is your favorite class?
Favorite class? English. Let's go with that. English.
All right. What has been your favorite musical or play that you've performed in?
Big River, but I could be wrong. Big River is a musical version of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and I got to be Huck Finn. That was one of my major roles. It was the start of me really starting to love the business and stuff.
What's your pinnacle? Where would be your favorite spot or your musical play to be in?
There is a musical called Parade. The title may seem happy and cheery, but it is not whatsoever. It's based on the trial of Leo Frank in 1913, who was a Jewish man who got accused of murdering this girl that worked for him. Very dark, but it is a very powerful and moving show about that I think applies very well to the political climate of today.
And what are your plans after high school? So you're only a junior.
I want to go, the whole plan right now, it could change at any moment. I want to go to Boston University for a communications major, and instead of majoring in music or musical theater, I plan on going to Boston because it's a very theater-rich community, so I plan on just letting the experience be my teacher.
Now let's talk about that awesome experience you had the other day. And we'll just kind of start from the beginning. So our choirs went to Hamilton in Chicago. I guess you can explain it better, but what did you guys have to do to be able to go?
So there is a grant called EduHam, which you can let any students, we narrowed it down to our U.S. history and choir students. You had to do some sort of artistic project about the founding era, whether it was writing a rap, which was very popular, I'll get into that later, a spoken word, a song, a monologue, or a dialogue between characters, something like that. That had to be done, and everybody had to do it to be involved with the program. But then you got $10 tickets to see Hamilton, so it was a pretty sweet deal. Yeah.
That is an amazing deal. You went with a song.
Yes.
And so I believe it was about Patrick Henry.
Patrick Henry.
And
yes.
Why Patrick Henry?
So the interesting story behind all that is I started off wanting to do a song about Hamilton because I related very deeply to his methods of writing towards my methods of creating art.
But you're not like him because he's not the nicest guy in the world.
He's not. No. He's kind of arrogant, full of himself. But you can see, especially when the music arises, you can see what led him to that point. It's very good at portraying all the characters very human,
right?
Not too perfect and not too evil. There's no black and white really, which is something I love about just any art is when it's subtle, when it's not in your face or anything like that. But as for Patrick Henry, how I got to that is I was writing and then I looked back at the articles because we had articles and people and events that we could base our projects off of. And I saw "Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death," that speech, and I was like, well, that's really like an iconic American phrase, and it's very dramatic and bold. And I was kind of struggling with my Hamilton project that I was working on, so I looked at the speech. Whenever I'm basing something off of something, I always go to the text, and looking through the text, it's just a call to arms speech, really, just a motivational speaker. And looking at it just on paper, there aren't really many layers to it. So I did a little research on Patrick Henry. Like, if I don't find anything, I'll go back to the Hamilton thing. And Patrick Henry, I hesitate to say he was shy because he wasn't a shy human being, but he definitely wasn't somebody who was as outspoken as the other men in the First Continental Congress. So he's talking to all these men who he normally doesn't talk to about something that he's really passionate about. So the song and the whole speech, the text turns from a simple call to arms speech to a man who starts off very hesitant about speaking about what he believes is right, and grows more and more passionate as he starts talking about his passion to these men, ending with the famous "Give me liberty or give me death" line, which I thought is just such a dynamic musical moment to create someone who is kind of hesitant towards speaking. The whole first part is completely a cappella, and then slowly crescendos throughout the whole song, growing more and more passionate about what he believes is right, which I think is something that you can see nowadays. People are coming out of their shells and starting to say what they believe.
And so did you have a title for it?
There are things I like about it, little details, but I picked "Now Is the Time" because it's a musical or a lyrical not stereotype. It's a lyrical choice that a lot of people make to make something vague enough that everybody will be able to relate to it. And I think that's kind of the lazy man's way out, is picking a vague line like that. But "Now Is the Time" was something that I did feel fit right for this, is he "Give me liberty or give me death," which is something that has lost its power now towards most people because it's heard so often in U.S. history. Something that I felt like the audience could understand more is he was saying, we can't wait anymore. Like, it's either this or that. We're either dying or we're getting freedom. So now is the time to make your decision on what you want to do.
So you were on the Hamilton stage.
Yes. Yes,
like
I was.
3,000 students looking at you. Your mom, your aunt,
Yep.
brother, cousin in the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Surprisingly, no. No. I mean, I was, but I'll get to that in a second. I wasn't nervous because I have been taught well by my acting coaches. One thing that's always stuck with me is when you are performing, nobody's there to see you fail. Like, you do not go on stage with a bunch of people waiting to nitpick every last thing you do. That's just not how audiences work. They're there to see you succeed, which is why some people get nervous, but you can really use that as a motivator, as something that fuels you, is kind of the innocent until proven guilty, but in a less extreme way, is that they're watching every good thing that happens. That's why they're there. So I always came in with that mentality, and even I went backstage. It was amazing. I went backstage and thought I was going to get nervous, and I still wasn't. In fact, a lot of the experience was just humanizing all these people I looked up to. Like, we had a Q&A session, for example. It was humanizing a bunch of actors who, if I hadn't had that Q&A, I would have just thought they were their roles, because that's their job. And looking at that set, getting transported into this world they had created, but then you go backstage and you see all the mechanisms and how it all works. It was very humanizing. So that kind of eased any nerves that I might have had. One thing that did make me nervous is I sat back there and I was in the middle of all the performances. So that alone, the anticipation is something that always gets you nervous. Everybody was doing a rap. Everybody. And that wasn't my problem. They were very good. They were clever and well performed. I did not write a rap. The audience was loving every one of these performances. So my major nerve was not, am I going to mess this up? It was, is the audience going to like this? Are they going to like this at all? Honestly, the last thing I remember when I was leaving that stage was going on the stage. Like, the performance was a blur to me, to be honest. The only thing that really sends me back there is watching the videos that were taken. And the audience loved it. I mean, I hesitate to say anything that may make me sound arrogant, but I got a standing ovation, and I could not hear my last note because there was so much cheering, and that transported me somewhere.
How was the experience watching Hamilton? Have you seen Hamilton before?
I had seen Hamilton before. We had gotten a Christmas gift, my brother and I, to see it with my mom and dad, and we went there, same theater, the CIBC, back balcony, one of the last rows, and we were ecstatic. It was amazing. It was so cool. And this time, I got the exact opposite. I was like the third or fourth row in front because I was one of the performers. Right. So both have their pros and cons, to be honest, because the stage was so high that it limited your view from some of the actors. But, like, they were right in front of you. You didn't hear it through the speakers. You heard the singing back and forth. It was leveled themselves. It was amazing just to hear that. The cacophony of shouting voices going back and forth across the stage. It was amazing to see all that happen.
I am so glad you have had that experience, because I don't think that will be the last time I get to see you on stage. So you've got some shows coming up, probably.
Yeah.
So what are you into this spring or summer or even fall?
So a lot.
That's why I asked, like, spring, summer, and fall. I'm sure you've got a lineup
all over. Yeah. It's come to the point where I've prepared for auditions that are going to be happening next spring.
Wow.
It's really all you have. You prepare yourself for all these auditions because you know rejection's just around the corner. You get thick skin to it, but I'm in 2 shows with a new theater group called the 574 Theater, which is in Mishawaka at the Patel Center. And I am in the ensemble it's called A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. It's the first time the show is ever being produced unprofessionally. And then I will be playing Jack in Into the Woods at the 574 as well. Then I'll be auditioning for Your Good Man, Charlie Brown here.
Here at Riley.
Here at Riley, yes.
And that'll be this spring?
That'll be this spring, yes, in May.
One of the last things I like to ask guests is, what is your definition of success?
Success is when you have served the person that you've served, because in art, that's all we do. We serve. You're serving your audience. In all arrays of work, you are serving people. When the person you served leaves better than they were before, that is success. And it's one thing that we over glamorize success with is that we're going to feel amazing after success. That's not always the case. I directed a show here for the first time, and it was a very powerful show. I didn't feel great about it. I really didn't. But I would go out into the meet and greets, and people would be affected by it. And you could see that the show had left them thinking. And really thinking about not just the play, but how that relates to the world around them. So if I have left that show, which I didn't really feel too great about. I mean, the kids did amazing. It was more personal things about myself than the cast. The cast was wonderful, and they interpreted the show so well. But I was still successful because people had still left potentially better than they were before.
I was one of those people. You did a great job. You mentioned you want to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Get into the theater stuff. You've directed here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like best? Do you like acting the best? Do you like writing? Obviously, you've done a good job at that. Directing. What do you like doing best?
I love creation.
Mm-hmm.
Performing arts is all interpretation, while literary and visual arts is creating. I love acting because I love the interpretation and the analysis of the text I've been given. I love directing because I can visualize and then share with the world this piece that I don't have to be recognized for, the actors get to be recognized for, and that is a beautiful thing. And then my favorite thing is writing, and more so composing than writing, because I love writing stories. I've always loved writing stories and telling stories, but through music, everything feels more natural with me. It's a language that I feel I have been well versed in thanks to my parents. And if I could do anything with my life out of all the things I love, I would want to be a composer. Because I think through musical theater, especially, telling a story through music is, I mean, it's been done for years in operas and ballads or in native stories they would tell through music at times. Roman soldiers were judged based on rank, not just by skill and strength, but also who could sing the best, because it's a muscle. Music has so much power to it, and being able to shape that power is something that I enjoy the most. Music is most powerful when it's relatable, and that's not just through lyrics. I love writing lyrics. I think they're amazingly powerful, but music is a subtle art because there are themes, there are motifs, there are styles that you can make people feel certain ways without them even knowing it. So I would say I think through song, and I really do see the world through song, I think, because that's what a composer needs to do, or else he can't, at least a musical, somebody who's writing a musical, writing the score for a musical or the score for a movie, you have to be able to see the world through music, or else you can't make it relatable to other people.
This has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
This has been fun,
Awesome.
I can't wait to see you on stage soon. You said the Charlie Brown is going to be in May?
May. Yep. May.
That's coming up.
It's coming up. It is.
But you don't get nervous. I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We've got some information in the description down below to contact him, and like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.